Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. You're still watching Rapid Done right here on Rapid Television. My name is Victor. Okay.
My name is Martha Alu. Welcome to the 9 o'clock hour right here on Rapid Dawn. The big conversation it is.
And of course, on today's big conversation, we spotlight the ADC and the court saga as the African Democratic Congress has once again found itself at the center of legal and political attention following a judgment delivered on Monday, July 13th, 2026, by the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja. In a split decision of 2-1, the three-member panel of the Court of Appeal, led by Justice Okon Abang, upheld an earlier judgment of the Federal High Court delivered on April 29, 2026, by Justice Joyce Abdul Malik. The appeal court affirmed the order restraining the independent National Electoral Commission from recognizing or participating in any state congresses organized by committees appointed by the Senator David Mark-led caretaker leadership of the ADC. Now, the court also upheld the order restraining the caretaker leadership from interfering with the tenure and functions of the party's elected state executive committees. The majority held that there was no basis to set aside the Federal High Court's decision. However, following the judgment, the ADC maintained that the ruling does not invalidate its presidential primaries or affect candidates produced through those primaries, insisting that the judgment relates specifically to the conduct of the state congresses. The party also indicated that it is considering further legal steps. So we're asking this morning, what exactly are the legal, political, and electoral implications of this judgment, and how has the opposition coalition suffered a setback? Or is this simply another stage in an ongoing legal process? Well, these are some of the issues that we are going to be discussing this morning. And joining us in the conversation this morning is Ike Okoronkwo Bishop, the ADC National Chairman's Aide on Strategy and Innovation. Good morning to you, sir, and welcome to the conversation.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ike. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Let's start by your overview of the court's judgment.
Okay. Just like my learned friends would say, it's an academic exercise in the sense that my Lord Justices of the Appeal Court had just affirmed what the lower court did. And in a split decision, if you read the dissenting judgment, you will discover that that is what we canvassed, and that was what, by the way, the dissenting decision was given by the lead judge, not Justice Okonaban. Justice Okonaban was not the lead judge of the judgment, but he read the judgment of the majority, because it's a split decision of 2-1. So generally, it's expected, but it is not something to cry so much about, because it's just basically, affirming what Justice Malik has given, that we should not interfere on the tenure of the chairman, which by their own affidavit, they wrote the time their tenure was supposed to expire. And if you look at, they said their tenure was supposed to expire by 20th of May. And our Congress and conventions were supposed to hold earlier in April.
Okay.
So looking at it, you see that by virtue of time, they don't even hold any locus anymore, because their tenures has expired. Yes, they are no longer state chairman. As of the time they disputed the case, they were state chairman. But as of today, they aren't, by their own affidavits. So the party is also considering taking a further action in this record, because the party, the Supreme Court has been consistent over the years about management of parties to be an internal affair, not to be interfered by any third party, including the courts. So if we are taking a further action, it's just because of that point. And other points are stated. The constitution of ADC does not recognize, there's no part of our constitution that says that the state chairman can conduct congresses. So I don't even know where they manufacture that from. Nigerian courts these days, they even give you prayers you don't ask for. You can remember when the appeal court added a status quo should be maintained and table, even when the parties that came to court did not ask for it. So, what a surprise, but generally, is a hurdle that we're going to crush at the Supreme Court. I believe that.
All right. Now, my question is, if the Supreme Court upholds this ruling, that? Because from your answer, I already know what part of the ADC you are in, even though you don't like to call it factions. I already know what part of the ADC you are in. What happens to the candidates that that went through the primaries, have already been elected by your party members as candidates that will be fielded for the 2027 general elections? Because as we speak, the time for INEC's upload has elapsed. It was supposed to be 2 days ago, the 14th of July.
Yeah.
And now you have this court case.
No, you know the INEC also came out the other day to say that they have uploaded now. They have recognized our list and they've uploaded it.
Okay.
That's one bread. But you see, the conduct of primaries in the Electoral Act as amended 2026 is different from conduct of congresses and conventions of party. Now, if we had adopted the consensus form of primaries, or if we had also adopted indirect primaries, which is no longer in our constitution now, that is where there would have been interference of party executives, state congresses, but the conduct of direct primaries is a function of the NWC directly.
Okay.
Because INEC has set standards of what should be done. First of all, you are supposed to submit the register of all your members 21 days and give INEC notices and give notices to states that there's going to be primaries. So ADC has complied to all those, all those laid down rules. So there is no court case in Nigeria today that will affect the product of our candidates, because the procedures to produce them was strictly monitored by INEC. Do you understand what I'm saying? So now, even if tomorrow, let's assume David Mark is changed, there is a new guy that will come in, does not have the 21 days to submit register. He does not have time to upload. So the only option he has is to go ahead with the candidate. He cannot say what David Mark has done is invalid. No, because the David Mark, even if it was illegal, had followed the process INEC laid down and has produced the candidates.
Okay. So this in no way interferes.
It has no. Our candidates were produced by all members of our political party. By all members, every member involved, every member that was registered as of the time that the 21 days window elapsed, participated in this primary. So nothing on this earth can change the outcome. Nothing.
Well, the National Publicity Secretary, Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, said immediately after the July 13 Court of Appeal judgment that the judgment has no effect whatsoever on the direct primaries through which the party's candidates have emerged at all levels. That you've also stated now. And of course, he also said that the ADC had already begun the process of appealing what he described as a legally unsustainable judgment. But again, the majority judgment held that the Congresses and even the National Convention conducted by the David Mark led leadership were in nullity because they were carried out in violation of subsisting court order.
Good.
Now, how do you reconcile your party's position, right, with the language of the judgment itself?
If you look at, that's why I said, there were two judgments. And when we go to the Supreme Court, we will present the two judgments, both the minority and the majority judgment. The minority judgment said that before the court order was given, the convention and the congresses had already happened. So how can you obey something that you didn't have? Nigeria is a miracle. I wouldn't call it. How can you obey something you didn't have? You understand what I'm saying? The time we conducted our convention and congresses had happened before the court order came. So there's no how we could have disobeyed what we didn't have. And it was stated black and white by my lawyer. So when we go to the Supreme Court, we're going to put this fact before the Supreme Court. And this is what happened. This is what happened. That is what happened. But the major facts that ADC is going to the Supreme Court with is that, does any court have jurisdiction to interfere with the management of the party? No. Does ADC Constitution say that state chairmen have the right to conduct congresses? No. So where are these state chairmen? And besides, this is just 7 chairmen. And you have about 36, 37 of them. How can 7 supersede them? We know the rule of majority in this country. The minority will have their say, but the majority will have their way. How can 7 chairmen be their fundamental right has never been trampled upon? Because the NWC of the party, of any political party, has the right to dissolve on behalf of the NEC, any state management committee, any state working committee. And these are just state working committee of the party. They're not even the state congress of the party, because the state congress of the party is actually the highest making decision body of the state, of the party organ in the state.
Yeah.
But you see, the party management is one. It's not disjointed. The federal, the state, and the local government is one, headed by the NWC, the National Working Committee. Every one of these people are delegations to they are delegates to the NWC. Even the state chairman is a delegate to the national chairman. He does not have any constitutional right outside the party's constitution. In the eyes of the law, they are not even recognized. There is nowhere in the law or as amended both the 2022 INEC Electoral Act or the Electoral Act or the 2026, there's no way their names are mentioned. They are not mentioned in any Nigerian constitution. Because the constitution recognizes that party is one structure headed by the national chairman and the national secretary.
So are they operating illegally within the party?
No, they are not operating legally. That's why I said in the frame of the party constitution, they are delegates to the national. They are like ambassadors to the National Working Committee. That is why the constitution said the National Working Committee can dissolve them at any time and set up a caretaker. At any time, they can be dissolved. It is in our constitution, it's in the constitution of all political parties. And it's the same everywhere. The National Chairman of APC can dissolve any state working committee. The same thing with PDP, the same thing with all the parties. It's the same. I think I've seen most of the constitution. I've not read all, but almost all of them are similar.
All right. Now, some Nigerians will ask, why does a third party force that is supposed to challenge the two dominant parties look as fractured as it is right now? What would be your response to that? Because whether you like it or not, you have also indirectly mentioned that there's a rift within the party.
Yes.
So what would your response be to Nigerians?
These are sponsored rifts. Of course, we know. Everybody knows that these are sponsored rifts. All the major opposition in Nigeria are in crisis. And the crises are all court-related.
Okay.
So to me, and in my personal opinion, this is government of the day using the judiciary to attack the opposition. That's just what I was saying. Because NDC was doing very well. Before you know it, one court case came out from Lokoja of their steam. Same thing with ADC. They've been fighting ADC. In fact, one of the presidential candidates said he left ADC because of court cases. And only for the court case to jab him where he went.
So you guys claim that he's also part of the reason the court cases.
So we never said so. We never said so. We know that the court cases are being sponsored by state actors. Femi Bajabiamila, the chief of staff to the president, took some of his colleagues or his former colleagues in the House of Rep to go to ask the court to register ADC. What concerns them? What local standing do they have? And unfortunately, in that case, the Attorney General of the Federation joined the matter and asked court to register ADC. And they came and said, this party met up every condition required to be a political party. They said no, they registered them. So I can't you see that the hand of the government is in this whole thing. So the problem we are suffering in the opposition party is being suffered by government. So that's simple.
Well, you guys were fined 10 million naira. You know, after that court case, ADC was fined 10 million naira. Who pays for that?
We are still appealing. We until the final decision is made in the Supreme Court, we don't really need to pay anything. We are going for appeal. We are going to appeal and to the Supreme Court. Thank God the Habiko is not the final judge. Although that's why we have to say. But we are appealing. We are appealing both the fine, both everything, both the judgment. We are saying the judgment is biased. It's not law. It's that they did not stand on the grounds of the law. Both ADC Constitution and Nigerian Constitution to arrive at their conclusion.
All right. Now, why Justice Abba was delivering the lead judgment, right? He stated that once a complaint before the court is anchored on a constitutional infraction, the shield of internal affairs drops and the veil is lifted for judicial intervention.
Fundamental. Fundamental. Read again. The fundamental.
He said it's anchored on a constitutional infrastructure. He said the shield.
Okay, so what is the Constitution? What is the Constitution? The Constitution, what is the Constitution? The only Constitution at which you can go and fight the internal affair of the party is if the constitutional rights are breached. But their constitutional rights have not been breached. They have not been expelled as party members. They have not been asked not to become ADC members again. Because everybody has right to. They are still ADC members. And if you look at this chairman, they've not even exploited. If you look at the dissenting judgment too, the judge upheld that there is no evidence that this chairman has followed the internal mechanism of party resolution procedures, to try to resolve the issue internally. There is no evidence before the court to show that this chairman had tried alternative resolutions with it or the party resolution mechanism and didn't resolve their matter. They didn't. So, as far as I'm concerned, there is no constitutional breach on these people.
All right.
They say their time expires 20th. In fact, by the time Justice Malik gave the judgment, immediately ADC received that judgment, ADC rescinded all the congresses conducted. They paused it. They asked all the people that are producing, you are not just be caretaker for now. In fact, don't even do anything until this people's term expires. So everybody hands down. We just allowed them freely. In fact, some of them went back to their states and was conducting, carrying themselves until 20th. Once their time, because there can't be a vacuum. Once their time was coming to an end, the neck of the party, which the only people that have the right to call the neck is the national secretary and the national chairman. They convened the neck assembly in Abuja, and they set up caretaker across the whole state. So now ADC is not operating based on the product of the congresses they had or the convention. They are operating based on the caretaker. It was documented in the neck meeting, monitored by INEC.
All right. You talked about legal interventions or the interventions of the court for internal crisis within a political party. And the appellate court cited the PDP Supreme Court situation as an example to justify legal intervention in the ADC's matter right now as we see. Now, do you think that that comparison is fair enough, or you think that the intervention regarding ADC's matter is materially different from what happened during the PDP's judgment?
Definitely. It's highly materially different because, look at PDP. PDP had a very dire straight situation. What was the situation? There was a court order stopping them from conducting their convention. They received the court order and they still went ahead and conducted their convention. At that point, the court frowned at that, both at the highest level of the Nigerian court system, that they shouldn't have gone ahead, haven't gotten that order. What they should have done was wait, vacate the order, and set another date. There was nothing to hurry to do the convention. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying. There was nothing to hurry to do that convention. They could have made sure they collected. If the PDP led by the Damagu faction, the Damagu then, because there was no faction when Damagu was the chairman. If they had been patient and vacated that order and conducted that convention, it would have been a different ballgame. But hurry to go and conduct that convention without vacating that order is what played them where they are today. And ADC is different. We never had any court order. We didn't receive the court. The date the court judgment and the order was given is there. The date we conducted our congresses was there. Our conventions, the pictures, the videos, the INEC documentation. And remember, while we were doing that, we already had a judgment that we are contesting at the Supreme Court, where the status quo ante bellum, so all those things were happening at the same time. It was just a whole lot for ADC, but thank God that God helped us. We are maneuvering the whole thing. But the justice system of Nigeria is highly being politicized. Judges are giving incoherent judgment. Justice Malik had said that matters of political party are not justiciable. And she also went ahead and gave this judgment. So sometimes when you look at, you now begin to wonder what is really happening within our judiciary.
All right. We're still having conversation with Ike Bishop Okoronkwo, the ADC National Chairman's Aide on Strategy and Innovation. Right now, we'll go on a break and we'll come back. We continue with the conversation. Just stay with us. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. You're still watching Rapid Done right here on Rapid Television, and we've been having conversation centered around the court ruling on ADC. And Ike Bishop Okoronkwo, the ADC National Chairman's Aide on Strategy and Innovation, has been here with us to give us answers to this question. Once again, thanks so much for being here with us, Bishop.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bishop.
Yeah. Now we're being joined by Barrister Precious Ehi Edo, Esquire, the ADC Deputy State Secretary, FCT. Welcome, Barrister.
Thank you. Welcome. Why did Esquire make you laugh? It's so funny online when you because it said barrister and I said Esquire.
Okay, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you very much.
Right. Now, as a lawyer and the Deputy State Secretary of the FCT chapter, the Court of Appeal affirmed that responsibility for conducting state congresses rests with elected state executive committees, not the committees appointed by a national caretaker leadership. Is that correct?
Well, I beg to differ. Not just saying my personal opinion, but I think that lies on the shoulders of NEC, not just so. And he was the then chairman, so
Okay.
he has every right to do that.
It has the right
He
to
has
do that.
every right to
So
do
you're
that.
saying the judgment by the court was incorrect?
Who am I? The court is the court, and that's why we have the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, because when you feel that the judgment does not reflect what actually happened, you have every right to reappeal. And that's why we're appealing at the Supreme Court that this judgment does not reflect what really happened. Because as of the time that committee was organized, he was a recognized chairman. We had not gotten any summon from the court, nothing. So he had every right then to conduct any primaries of his choice. Yeah, so.
But do you also think that this exposes any form of weakness within the ADC?
Do you know that I actually beg to differ at that? People think this actually dams our spirit and weaken us, but that's not true.
Okay.
Down to the grassroots level, I think they have gotten this notion that for the fact that they keep coming at just this party, there must be something about us that they are scared of 2027. So if there's anything, it's motivating us. It's giving us that morale that we have to do better because we are doing something right. You know that if a tree does not have sweet fruit, nobody will go and plug the tree now. So I don't think it's weakening us. I think it's making us stronger. So the grassroots, the executive, they will focus on 2027 election. Why will leave the legal matters for the lawyers?
All
All right. While this sounds very good and very optimistic, we cannot deny the fact that there is a major, should I say, concern that lots of Nigerians, including the ADC members, have, which will be the fact that if this is not resolved by the Supreme Court before the 2027 general elections, do you think this risks having ADC, not having ADC on the ballot for the elections?
So we are going to be scared if there was an atom of truth in that judgment. I'm now telling you from a legal point of view that I'm telling you, not being
You put it to
I
me.
put it to you, my lord. We are gonna be on that ballot come 2027. Not because I'm trying to be optimistic or I'm trying to be a party person and tell you so it can strengthen us. I'm telling you, based on my legal stand, it doesn't have any legal substance. Sorry to anybody who feel offended.
Let me continue.
And by the way, I want to add something.
Okay.
By the way, worst case scenario, let's assume that the Supreme Court even uphold the judgment. What happens is that we will go back to conduct fresh congresses at the local government, the ward level, and the state level.
But
Nothing
time
more.
is against you.
No. The conduct of those congresses has nothing to do with primaries.
Okay.
I just told you that there is the
Congress
laid down procedure
primaries.
for primaries is clear in the new constitution. In fact, it has always been clear. Where we would have been worried is if we had done an indirect primary or a consensus arrangement where we would have needed these state executives to have endorsed or participate. But as it stands now, every member of the party participated in our primaries because they were direct.
Okay.
So it has no effect on the primaries and the outcome of our primaries. No way.
Apologies, but you know that there's what is meant to be and what actually is.
Do you know that was why INEC came out to say the David Mark led group, David Mark led executive, they have fulfilled everything and they have registered all their candidates, including the presidential and vice presidential candidates. So if that ruling was going to affect us in any way, I don't think they would have come out to make such statements.
Well, you have said now, while you were speaking, that there was no atom of truth in the judgment that was passed. The most recent one, which was I think it was in July.
Monday.
Yes, on Monday. You have also made mention of the fact that the court, you don't understand why the court is weighing in, and some of the things that the court has said, you do not accept, right? If both of you have admitted to yourself now that there's a possibility of the court giving a wrong judgment, why do you now also believe that whatever it is that we see right now cannot be affected by a ruling that comes up afterwards?
Because there are two different judges. There are two different issues.
Okay.
You know, the issue, for instance, what is it that the outcome of the judgment had given those who were celebrating?
Okay.
What it is that the outcome of the judgment they feel has given them a lifeline to remain state chairman or whatever they are. But in reality, it's not true. Because by their own affidavit, that's what I said, by their own affidavit, their tenure has expired since 20th of May. We're in July now. So even if we finish the legal battle at the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court upheld that, no, you are not going to be, there's going to be a fresh case. A fresh case will have to emanate do they still have rights? They don't have rights. They are, by their own affidavit, their term has expired. So they can't even lay claim to anything anymore. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then the Supreme Court cannot, once a case passes, first she's a lawyer, you can no longer introduce anything new. And the way the case is now, they cannot introduce legality of David Mark. They cannot introduce anything about the national NWC leadership. What they will still maintain on that, we are the chairman, you can't remove us, which is, start over. So
you mentioned basically that even if the court gets to uphold the judgment, worst case scenario, you go back to state congresses and all of that. And the ADC, of course, is a coalition party right now, which is supposed to be the major opposition party as we speak. Instead of focusing on the public debate of policy, which is something that you need to be sharing to Nigerians right now, you are being faced with litigation. Is that not a full-time distraction? And again, you also said that time is of the essence. But I don't think you're factoring in time as well in this.
But that's why when I was speaking, I said we're going to leave the legal battles for the lawyers. While we at the grassroots level will focus on 2027, because everybody cannot be focusing on litigation. Oh, okay, he's not a lawyer. Why should he be? Does he want to go and tell the lawyers how to do their job? No, but he will focus on making sure that at the grassroots level, the people are energized, the people are mobilized, the people stay focused to the cause, because we cannot be losing focus. What happens when at the end of the day, after all legal battles, we come out victorious? So is that time now? Want to start going? No. The legal people handle the legal battles while we handle the grassroots level. So I don't think it's going to affect in any way, because it's not that they are not telling the party executive to come and go to court. No. So the party executive will do their job while the lawyers will also do their job. So.
All right. I was going to ask you something off air, and I said to save for on air. And it was the fact that we've had at least the privilege of having like different factions of different political parties. For PDP, we gave you an instance. For the ADC, we also had an instance of having the Nafiu Bala-led faction of the ADC. And each time, each faction comes here, they sound extremely sure about what their stance are. Why are you laughing? They sound extremely sure about what their stance are or what they would be getting regarding judgments and, runnings of the ADC. What's your perspective to that?
So I was going to answer that, and I was trying to say there's a difference between emotion and what is right before the court. By right, I will tell you, why are you wearing white when I'm wearing white? Because that's how I feel. But by right, he's allowed to wear whatever he wants to wear. I cannot determine what he wears. So the fact they are saying is my right to be the this or that, they are standing that, doesn't mean that in the court of law that's going to hold water, because the court does not rule by emotion. They rule by evidence. And like he said, their tenure has expired. You cannot say, oh, it's just like the president tenure expired and he said, no, I'm the sitting president, I want to remain. No. You either conduct an election and you hand over power, or you conduct an election to re-elect you. You cannot just sit and say, no, because I'm the one currently holding power, so I'm going to keep holding power. That's your emotion speaking. But what's the right thing? You have to conduct an election and do transition of power. So they are saying it because that's how they feel. They are allowed to feel any way they want to feel. But is that right before the court of law? No.
Do you think that there's a possibility of both parties sitting down to concretely resolve the issues between these?
Because that's the right thing they were supposed to do from the onset. They're not even supposed to go to court immediately. You're supposed to, address all resolution, do arbitration. It is when arbitration now doesn't work and you still feel cheated, then you can now say, okay, I need the court to come to my rescue. But they didn't do that. They... Like he said when I was coming, he said, they are still members of the ADC. Nobody chased them away. It's just that their tenure has expired and you have to go. That's just, it's just logical.
So there's no possibility for you sitting together.
Sure, why not? They can come. That's the beautiful thing about ADC. They are open to anybody and everybody. If these people come and say, oh, we feel cheated, the chairman that I know we have will listen and ask, okay, how can we make you happy? But the thing is, they're not even coming forward. They don't want to come forward.
And the reason why they're not coming forward is simple, because they have been sponsored. When you've been given money to achieve a purpose, you must achieve that purpose. Right? As I said in Nigeria, you must deliver. So they have been paid to distract ADC, and that's what they are doing. Because
you
if-
made this allegation from the start of the conversation.
Yes.
Who is paying them?
I just
the
mentioned
government
names.
of the day.
No, I mentioned names.
Oh,
I
okay.
mentioned names. Femi Bajabia-Mila said on TV, Babajide Aleke, keep doing what you are doing. We love it. We will support you.
And
But that
even
means-
the
Does
Does
president,
that mean that he's paying
He's
them?
paying them.
even the
When you are
president
supporting
said,
somebody,
I'm going to
when you are
send you to
supporting
the
somebody,
opposition
when
to
you
go
are
and cause
supporting
confusion there.
somebody, support is support. Support is a currency. Moral support is a currency. Financial support is a currency.
Well, you stated that they were being paid, and I'm sure you stated that based on finance.
Of course, don't you pay your lawyers? Who gives lawyers money? If Femi went to court himself, didn't he pay his lawyers? He paid his legal counsel. So he's paying. They are paying. They are receiving funds. That's why they cannot come to come and say, oh, okay, let's have a settlement. I mean, this chairman, what were they doing? What was their work for them to be able to hire lawyers and hire ACN?
So they couldn't afford it on their own.
They cannot. I bet them. They should come and bring their source of income. Let's see how many businesses do they own? What are they doing? Let's see their recurrent salaries and what they are earning. Let them make it open. Let Nigeria see what they were earning before now, who they were before, what they were before. Is it because because Nigeria we celebrate with it, and the reason why it looks as if this law case is because that's what excites the media. When there is case like you guys cannot come and talk about the Orange Book or what there's court cases like this. This is very exciting. It's very exciting it's very good for media people to talk about law cases.
Years to prepare for Orange Book. Your press secretary was here. The lady, what's her name? I can't even remember again. She was here.
Yeah.
We asked her about the Orange Book the first time she came here. Oh, we are working on it.
The Orange Book
Weeks,
is ready.
months later, I have seen the Orange Book. As a matter of fact, one copy of the Orange Book, but it was by privy. I got that Orange Book to see. How many Nigerians now have access to it? And did you make it open?
It's on our website. It's on our website.
It's a recent
No,
development.
it's not on our website.
Before
the primaries, before the primaries, it was uploaded on our website.
I'm talking about last year. That was when the promise was made. Since last year, as at May, you guys didn't have the Orange
Okay,
Book
now
out.
can I
As at
explain?
May.
So can I say something?
Alright.
When coalition is made, the party already probably have their structure before the other faction came in. You don't just expect that. Okay, David Mark has his own principle.
Absolutely.
The previous party, the previous chairman also has his principle. They're going to sit together. What can we add and what can we remove? So if immediately the coalition we put out an Orange Book, it means that has not been reviewed. But after coalition, they need to sit together. Okay, His Excellency Rotimi Amici, what policy do you think should be added in the Orange Book? His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, what policy should be here? His Excellency El Rufai, what policy? All these people need to come and say, oh, I think women inclusion should be there. All this thing has to be there. And if we do it in one day, if we come and do jaga jaga now, is people that will still complain that, we did rubbish.
What is the Orange Book supposed to address?
Policies.
Policy and what government should be doing. Yeah. Remember, the party set up a policy committee headed by Chief John Onyegu and stepped by Pat Utomi, who is now of the NDC. And this committee was loaded with, erudite scholars, including Professor Sam Amadi, and many of them. So that takes time. They went around the country, sampled opinion of both the poor, the rich, the middle class, the civil servants. So producing an Orange Book is not easy, and they have to infuse this thing, all of them, into the Orange Book. So it's a lot of work.
Should I shock you about
maybe
this?
we might need to move on from
no,
this.
wait, before you move on.
You know something you have always, my goals have always maintained that this is what guides you as a political party.
Yes.
Right? This is basically your ideology.
Yes.
So do you bring a people together without first having an ideology? That's the question I will keep asking, because it's as though let's just bring the people together first. And you say you have to ask, okay, what do you think, Mr. Pat Utomi or whoever? What do you think, Mr. Tiko? What do you think? Is this found based on all of their ideologies, or we are looking for what works for the Nigerian system?
Which party has
apart from even saying, apart from saying,
what was that question?
Yeah, which party has ideology in Nigeria?
So no party.
No, Nigerian parties don't have ideology.
I actually beg to differ.
ADC was going to be the first. ADC was going to be the first to come up with a solid ideology. And that's why I said, like, if you look at what is the ideology of the Democrats and the Republicans, it wasn't started by one person. It was a group of people that come together, lock themselves in a room and say, what do we want as Americans? And they discussed it and came up with it. And that's what ADC wanted to achieve with the Orange Book. We would have been the first, and we will still the first, to come up with a solid ideology where the presidential candidate, all of them were one. After their screening, they were all given the Orange Book. And they all swore that they are going to put what is in the Orange Book. The Orange Book is the compass of the political party called ADC.
So yes, a very quick yes or no question then. Does the ADC now have an ideology?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, we'll come back to it. But let's quickly attend to what former presidential candidate Peter Obi said when he left the ADC. He said he left because the party was becoming consumed by endless court cases, internal battles, and suspicion and division instead of focusing on national issues. What's your? Let's get your comment there.
Set up.
Okay.
First of all, the party you went to, are they having legal issues or not?
Yeah, but you said consumed.
Consumed? How?
Said you guys are consumed.
I'm still standing here. I'm still a firm believer of ADC. I still tell you strong. I'm a young Nigeria that wants the betterment of this country. I tell you today, I'm guessing this is live. The moment ADC derivates from national policies, building policies that is going to enrich this country, I'll be the first to leave.
You think Atiku Abubakar can do this, which you have said?
In his caucus, it's filled with youth. The same thing with the vice president candidate. They are filled with youth. I'm sorry, but like he was saying, the media do not do justice to actually scrutinizing people. Get to know this person, not what people are posting on social media. These people believe, let's even leave their individual.
How do you suggest we get to know them?
I just quoted what Peter B said directly.
You came to... Should I quote what Rotimi Amechi said?
That's it. It's easy to say that the media is supposed to know them one-on-one, to actually know them. How do you expect the media... I'm sure you know that in other countries, these members of the parliament, they are one of the most accessible people, especially by the media.
Yeah.
But the case is the direct opposite here in Nigeria. They are the most difficult people to meet one-on-one. You know this, right? So regardless of the fact that we don't base our findings off of what we see on social media, but that also makes an integral part of a person. What they think about themselves, what you think about them, what people think about them, and what the society says about them. All of these make up an individual as a person. So how do you suggest? Please.
Do you know that it's only terrible things that trend?
Okay.
Both Amechi and His Excellency Rotimi Amechi and His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, they have been on a countless time, especially His Excellency Rotimi Amechi, and he says it. I have past records, which is not lying. While he was governor, while he was minister, I have worked. Go and fact check, and I'm telling you, if you go online, you see marvelous things that he has done. But the question is, do they? But the moment he said, me too, I am getting hungry because of this, that was the only thing that went viral. They only push the wrong narrative. Oh, why will an ex-minister, an ex-governor says he's hungry? Okay, where was the time where he said, I have past record, go and check, I did this, I did that. Why is that not trending?
Trend too. Both will trend.
No, this is not an interview of 1 week ago or 2 weeks ago.
This
months ago, and this was also the same time he had the interview where he said, this government is making me hungry. Which I will not even fault him, because even right now, the rich is crying. Yes, the rich is crying.
I really just wish that we had more time to...
But let's get Bishop just empty his chest right now.
Yes, on Peter Obi saying he left the party because the party is consumed. I think he didn't leave the party because the party was consumed. He left the party because he doesn't want to participate in primaries. The Peter Obi has never participated in any primaries.
Indirect primaries.
He
was willing to participate in primaries as consensus, not...
Yeah, but even in indirect, the formal indirect, he never participated in any one. He left PDP because of primaries and went to Labour, and it was given to him on a platter of gold. Same thing 2023, 22, all the times he has run, he has always gotten free tickets. So that was why Peter Obi left. No, because right now in NDC, in fact, in the eyes of the law, NDC does not exist.
So is he going to leave the party because
in the eyes of the law,
because he's
from
had
the
court
judgment
issues?
from the judgment from local judge, NDC is at pre-registration stage.
Okay.
So, it's better we say the truth. ADC is not consumed by any legal case. We are not.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Bishop Okoronko, and of course, Precious Ehi Ede Esquire. Edo. All right. Thank you for that correction. Thank you both of you for being here with us on the conversation.
Thank you
Appreciate
so much.
it.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Roberto.
Back to myself and Martha in the city. Martha, let's get to it.
Well, you see the problem of these political parties and these political aspirants. It's easy to come out to say, check my track record, but everybody cannot have the same idea about you. I attended the birthday lecture, 60th birthday lecture of Rotimi Amechi. And in that lecture, the topic was basically how poverty is being weaponized in Nigeria. And one question that people continue to ask after that, which we had a conversation about here, is why is the conversation coming up now? Why are you talking about the weaponization of poverty now? While you were governor, it happened in Nigeria. While you were minister, it happened in Nigeria. And let's not even get started on some of the things that he would have done while he was the Minister of Transport. That is now being done easily. Now, check out in the last 4 years, Victor, what we have in Nigeria, infrastructurally regarding transportation. There was someone who was Minister of Transport for years, and it was not done. If we want to put these facts on the table based on track records, where will he still be at the time? And it is much more than giving credit to yourself. And like I said, what people say about you is also very important as what you think about yourself as an individual. So at the end of the day, the people will decide. What I'll say to you today is go and get your PVCs. Whoever you believe, after critical analysis of their personality and their contributions to the Nigerian system, should be the person that would get your vote. You can't sit at home and say, you are wanting to make Nigeria great. It doesn't happen like that. It's a process.
Right. Well, to be fair to Rotimi Michelle as well, it was also within this tenor, according to reports, that the railways also got functional in this part of the world. But of course, we're here to keep you updated on the happenings and outcomes when it comes to political matters and every other matter that concerns Nigerians and, of course, the world at large. Do remember that you can follow us on our social media pages across our platforms at RapidTV. And you can get to rewatch all our episodes, including today's episode on YouTube, which is at official RapidTV. And wherever you are in the world, you can watch us live using our website at www.radioradiotv.com. And we are also on the free TV app. So all you need to do is download the free TV app and search for Rapid Television. You can watch us anywhere in the world. My name is Victor. Okay.
My name is Martha Alu. Thanks for joining us this morning. We will see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.